So
but what we've heard some of them say, for instance, the 8th Assembly, when it has to do with certain bills, they will always tell you, no, that was the previous Assembly. We have to start all over again. It has to go to the first, second reading, third reading, pass all of those before it comes to
yeah,
stage.
It's because of this principle that a parliament may not be able to bind a succeeding parliament. You know, bills are not like things that you can just inherit, you know, that kind of thing. So it's a
but the current one now,
legislative practice.
Can the president sign the current one now before May 29?
The president can do that. I think so. The president can do that legally. But the president did veto it.
And then it was sent back.
And it was sent back.
So the challenge is, can the National Assembly meet, do all the necessary, perhaps, the disagreements they had, and send it back? That's what the problem now.
This new National Assembly can look at it, adopt it as it were.
The new one or the new National Assembly?
Or even this old one,
yeah.
this current one. Because even if that's the parting gift they are going to give to Nigerians, they should do it. They should do it and then have their name associated with that innovation. Then some of them have lost election. I know it's painful, but if this is the only thing they will do for the Nigerian people as a legacy, they should do it.
But then they might
and
also
then the president, you know, has just won an election. He won't have any political consideration, assuming that was part of the reason why.
So now he's free to do it, in fact.
To do it. He's won an election, so do this. And even test run it in some state elections before we get to the big league. This is what is right. Because if here and we are saying that we are just underscoring the challenges, the fears, and all that, we won't get out of the bind.
Do you think there will be party constraints in taking that decision by the president?
What party constraints?
Political interests of the different political
there shouldn't be, because his party is still competitive. And we're not being told that his party strength lies in this manual analog process. That but for this process, his party won't win the elections he's won. So there shouldn't be a reason to have any phobia about this innovation. It shouldn't be. It is the way to go. I alluded to this, way, this path the other time. That even in the National Assembly, they have an electronic voting system that helps us to track the voting,
which has not been functional for.
The Nigerian Bar Association also has one.
And then we're now battling with the issue of manipulation of the process. Okay? But I'm saying that even at that, we cannot allow fears to look. We had fears all our lives. There are people in Nigeria who entertained the fear when colonialism was being defeated, that if we had a new government, we will not be able to manage our affairs. And for sure, by 1962, we started recording crisis in Nigeria. In Western region, 64, we had problems. And then by 65, 5 years, 66, we already had a military coup, right? But we trudged on. After the first 13 years of military rule, we had a civilian administration for 4 years that was short-lived. After that, we didn't say that at a point, Zik, in a public lecture, was already recommending Daki, meaning that these military people had come to stay. We aren't going to get them off our back. Let's have an administration like in Egypt, under our Sadat and all of them, where the military will be co-ruling Nigeria with us. But that never happened. After 4 years, the military came back again. They spent even a longer time than the 30 years of military rule between 1966 and 1979. They spent 16 or 17 years. And we had one Dracula of a head of state, who unfortunately, in my view, is still being honored in Kano now, with the Kano Stadium, who was killing people in Nigeria. We thought that, but after that, we had civil rule. And now, as ramshackle as it is, it's now about 20 years old. That's because we made efforts. That's because people sacrifice. If you allow the fears or the possibility of truncation of civil rule to make us think twice whether civil rule could ever survive, if we were to embark upon it, task, we'll still be under military rule by now. So the point I'm making is that we have to yield. It's even a disservice to young people now who are savvy with technology, our electoral system has to be voters friendly. It is not voter friendly. There's hostility here right now. And so it has to be innovative and creative. Indeed, it has to be marketed to the Nigerian people like those who run products, will do it in the advertorials, right? So people have to buy into it. This tedium of voters' education in a formal way will not entice people or encourage them to. So we have to do something creative and innovative. Curiosity has to drive it. Oh, what's the new thing now? The new thing now is that there's electronic voting in Nigeria. Everybody will want to participate in it. Just as PVC also generated a dynamic that drove interest, that made Nigerians say, I have PVC now, right? So that means if I have my biometrics, I can be identified as a voter.
Because if you look at that,
we need to
almost 16 million people more, you understand, were registered in 2019 compared to 2015.
Yes.
But when it then came to the actual process, maybe when they got there and saw how cumbersome it is,
in this
35% voter population,
in this cycle,
it dropped.
84 million registered voters. Those who collected PVC, about 73 or so.
72 million.
72 million. So we still have over 11 million PVCs that are not being used right now. Look at the wastages, the cost of producing them.
Yeah.
Look at all those. Not to talk of those who actually turn out to vote.
And whose votes are being cancelled.
Whose votes are being cancelled. So we have to be very creative about this, including looking at the possibility of making voting compulsory. In this country, yes.
But that has to be, if it's electronic,
yes.
Then you then
so you have no excuse not to vote. You have no excuse not to say that, yes, I just want to, I have an option of not voting. Because it's been made user-friendly, it's been made voters-friendly, you have no reason not to vote. And so, if you have that access, and a lot of money has been put in it to ensure that you have that access, you must use that access. That will make our democracy more participatory. It will make it more inclusive. It will even make it more credible and obviate what is currently going on, where a minority elects a majority, which is contradictory in terms, because democracy is a majoritarian rule. But at the end of the day, a minority is now electing that government in a representative government. So we need to do a number, and that's why I'm saying that immediately after this ordeal, and I use my words advice, these are not deals. Immediately after this ordeal, let Nigerians come forward across party lines, 6 groups, churches, and all that. We come together and say, simplify this process. Do it the normal way, and let Nigerians be able to celebrate this. We shouldn't always think that, even on the African continent, that we should look elsewhere first.
Before
look to South Africa and all that. South Africa,
Is there anything as a homegrown democracy? Is that possible, even if we have to say we want to alter, make some adjustments?
We can have democracy, almost now it's a universal concept. It could have originated somewhere in Greece, this brand of liberal democracy, but it's now universal, and people can legitimately lay claim to it. Because when people say that, yes, this democracy originated from somewhere, people will also tell you, what do you think that we're practicing in this part of the world under communalism? Even with a tinge of republicanism in some of the southeastern states, aboriginally, who didn't have kings, who were settling disputes in communities and all that, and said, yeah, that's also democratic and all that. So it's universal. However, we can have local particularities. We can have local innovations to make it contextual within the country, and then ensure that we are able to deliver on the aims and goals of democracy. Democracy is not just something that should just be there, ritual of election every 4 years. It is meant to propel development without development. Democracy is hollow and shallow.